Welcome, you bass players, which is not a lot of you because not a lot of you watch my channel. I don't know why. Well, not a lot of bass content, but sometimes I actually have played more gigs as a bass player than I have as a guitar player, but hey, that's normal. And those gigs are usually played with something small. Nowadays, you know, as bass players, you have wussied out. You have went with small, convenient, loud, massive Class D power, and it makes sense. Look, the dark glasses of the world with their very small, very flexible Class D powered amps make sense. Now, with a bass, we need a lot of wattage to create a similar volume to that of a guitar. And that has something to do with the hearing of the human being, because bass notes we hear more difficult than the mid stuff, which means we have to make it quite a bit louder to have the same perception of volume. Which means tube amps in the bass world are prohibitively expensive, that one too, by the way, and especially prohibitively heavy. You know the AMPETE SVT, 400 or I think 700 watt, endless amounts of 6L6s or whatever were in those things. Buddy of mine had one with the big 810 speaker. That speaker, he bought a special van to go to gigs just to move that speaker around. It almost killed him once. And that amp needs to be usually carried by two people. Two people like me, because I'm a wuss. It's ridiculously heavy, expensive, and just not practical. And then you have this massive bass power. And it's great when you're Rex Brown with Pantera and someone's carrying your shit. But if you carry your own stuff and you have to pay for your own stuff, so that drive, that clarity, that tubiness has kind of disappeared from the bass market because the smaller stuff is more convenient. And then, of course, they put drive circuits into it to make it sound tubey. They try to emulate it. They try to put, again, some drive in there, some tube emulation, or maybe even a preamp tube. It's not the same. And I noticed that it's not the same the second I turned on the Bassboy by Tubeworkshop. Now, this is the baby of Mario from Tubeworkshop, who during COVID just started making amps based on crazy designs from the 40s and 50s and based on PAs from train stations and old Philips hi-fi tube amps, and started running guitars through them. And then people said, can you make, finally, please, can you make us a portable, and that means lower wattage, bass amp, please. So the Bassboy can run like the good old AMPETE, whatever it was called, BL or something. Some studio AMPETE that had, I think, 15 watts? Or they had it in 30? I don't know. It can run in 30 or 50 watt. 30 watt cathode biased or 50 watt class AB. If I'm correct about this, it's in the back, which we don't have a camera on because there isn't much in the back. There's literally that. There's the switch for 30 or 50. The speaker output, impedance selectable, and a DI out. You have to run a cab with it. This does not have a built-in load, otherwise you break your amp. But there is an XLR DI out. It's not really massively frequency compensated, so it's not going to sound like it is coming through a cab, but it does sound fine. People went nuts about this. Now, this is not bargain basement. This amp is 3,500, I think. The cab is over 1,000. So what I'm looking at here is 4,500 or above. That is a lot of cash. But it's all tube bass goodness, 6L6 loaded, real tube bass sound. And you can absolutely hear that when you plug in your bass for the first time. It's just delightful. The drive is real bass drive, not some kind of simulation. Now, for a lot of situations, for most situations live, your Class D powerhouse will do. It's convenient. It fits into your gig bag. Nobody says don't use that. But if you got the cash, and you want to play at home for fun, or go in a studio and have killer sounds, this is it. With its 50 watts, I think it can survive in a not quite so loud band. If you're playing, you know, rocky stuff, all good, especially if you're using the DI out or you're miking it. You are rewarded with tonal bliss. This is why you buy this. You don't buy this because it's super convenient. It actually isn't that heavy. Let me see how heavy it is. It did break my back, by the way. I moved that over into the other studio, picked it up. It's really not heavy, but I did a wrong move, and then 3 days on the couch because I broke my back. I mean, I twisted something. It's not the amp. It really isn't that heavy. It weighs 14 kilo. So yeah, I just moved wrong. I'll give you some... What?
You're old.
Okay, The woman next door says, I'm old. That could also be the reason. You know what? Because I'm old. It is completely made, hand-to-hand point wired. Several hands pointing and wiring. In Germany, as I said, 50 watt class AB or 30 watt cathode biased. I don't know what that means. It's got two 6L6 power amp tubes and one 6SL7 preamp tubes. He goes with the weird shit. One 6SL7 paraphase phase inverter. To some of you, that might mean something. I'm about what it sounds like, so I don't know. A GZ34 Gleichrichterröhre, which I think is a rectifier. Post phase inverter master volume. That's this thing. It's called a PPIMV. Post phase inverter master volume. Preamp gain with ultra bright function. It says ultra high here, which I mistakenly interpreted as more gain. So ultra bright might be a good idea to write on the front panel, Mario, because ultra bright is very clear. Ultra high is not so clear. 3 bands with bass, treble, and a character knob in the middle. And that goes from modern to vintage, and there's a lot more happening than just mids. I think it actually also moves the center frequency, so there's definitely more happening, and we're going to hear that. Impedance in the back, XLR, ground lift, blah, 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 blah. $32.99 says right here, and the cap is, I think, $1,100 or something like this. So, again, not super cheap, but you want hand-to-point, point-to-hand wired, and the best that Tube has to offer. Bassboy is for you. Now, you're going to say, why aren't you testing that with something that we know? Well, because this is something that you know. This is a precision jazz active. Right now I've got it in passive. If you are pushing this with active, it blows up. So I recommend, for me, tonally, I recommend running passive pickups into this. But yes, if you want the mayhem, active can do. This is a flexible bass of quite considerable quality and not super expensive. I think like what, 1,300 or something like this. This is a Vola Vasti. No, it's a Vola Oz. It looks like an Oz. No, it's a Vasti. It's a Vola bass, and it's great. Active. You can check it out on the website at Vola Guitars or something. So here we go. We're gonna take this down. I am going DI, but I'm also miking the cap, which is probably what you're gonna hear because that gives you all the goodness. And I don't know what speakers, and they look it up on the website. There's SM57 in front of it and an MK8 from Sennheiser. Right there? Tame. Nice. So we cranked up. We're right now in, yes, the 50 watt mode. I'm gonna play that a few times. So let's go immediately and crank up the preamp a bit more. Here we go. Now the tubes come in. More preamp gain. Right now, I'm on both pickups. Okay, we'll pull the bright. Well, let me do. Because he played guitar and bass. Only here. Nope, I got no tone control. On the jazz pickup. Back in the middle. Like those really rounded, pillowy, kind of subdued bass tones, I don't think it's made for that. Because you always have that tube. Well, I mean, I'm on the ultra high now. Let's see if we can go. Ah, here we go. That's what I'm looking for. Vintage. Okay, that works, especially on this pickup. The character. Let's stick it around here for now. More mids on the vintage. And denser. Less dense and clearer on the modern. Bass and treble are highly effective. Yes. Okay, definitely a lot you can do, and then of course you can pull the bright. That's a lot of drive there. I'm gonna go all the way back on the preamp, because I'm gonna go into active. If I stayed where I was before, because now I'm really pushing it, so if you're playing active, pull it back. Nice. Now, of course, I've got the option of dialing things in here actively. A little bit back, a little bit more bass. Gonna go vintage with the active. A little bit much on the drive. Pull for bright. With those drivey sounds, a pick can be nice. You're definitely, I think, more in the rock and classic-y rock or metal territory. Within the metal territory, probably not this type of amp. Or maybe you do. But you want to play classic-y rock stuff? Actually, more on the let's see on the modern set. Ooh, that's nice. Listen. Don't play that as a bass player, play this. And then you have a line. You know, stuff like that. This amp and a pick is fun, but of course, even without a pick. I feel like subtle isn't really its thing. If you want subtle, maybe a transistor amp is more your thing, because those harmonics are just always beautifully there. This thing freaking rocks. And I love it in passive. So much because it's pushing it gentler and the amp can do the sound, not your bass. Volume-wise, I don't know. It gets loud. So that was the AB version. Now we're in the cathode bias. Do I hear a difference there? Well, it's 30 watts, so technically less, but I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna say whatever difference there is, I can't tell. Point is that the Bassboy by Tubeworkshop, made in Germany with the finest materials. And by the way, if you want to order it with the nice case for the cab and the head, it's absolutely worth it. It's not too expensive. Also made in Germany by hand. This is one of the finest amps you can get if you like bass tube tones. From the first moment I plugged it in, I was like, yeah, that's gonna be easy to get a good sound. I usually have to go and run it through virtual Marshalls and do parallel distortion and do all these kinds of tricks to get these tones. Here, you turn it on and you're good. And there's your sound. It's just fun, and it's not brutally massive volumes that kill you. This should be in every studio that has rock bands coming by. I know the price is scary, but this is the shit. And honestly, I don't know who else right now on the market makes an all-tube bass amp that can get you those sounds everybody wants, but everybody compromises on it by having simulations in tube preamps and drivers in their Class D amps. Those Class D amps are super powerful, loads of watts, small, convenient, I get it. But they are a compromise because this thing rocks. You can get a Thomann if you're bass player, check it out, drive by. If you want uncompromising quality and tone, this is the shit. I'm not saying this because I'm getting paid for this video. I'm saying this because it is the shit. And that's all I gotta say. Please subscribe to the channel. It absolutely 100% helps me. It does nothing to your life if you don't ring the bell. Don't ring the bell. It absolutely it doesn't affect your life in any way, but it does affect my life. So if you want to affect my life, please subscribe. Use the links under the video. That absolutely helps. Thanks to Mario for letting me do these videos, and Animals at the end.